Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to another episode of 90 Day Fiancé the Other Way. This is Season 1, Episode 8, Chickening Out. Welcome back to my recap, you guys. This was actually a really good episode this evening. I love that it's only an hour long. As you guys can tell, I'm in a different background because I'm at Chris's house and I wanted to get this video in, so I'm filming in her space. Okay, let's jump right into the first couple. Since we just said chickening out, let's talk about Cory and Evelin. I feel so bad for Cory. This ended up sad for him. So we're at Abuelita's house. We get up. She's chopping up some octopus. Looks like she's about to throw down in that kitchen, girl. It is Evelin's younger brother's 13th birthday, and Cory and Evelin need to go buy a chicken to add towards the festivities. So they go to the chicken place, and Cory's a little confused about exactly what chicken place means. I have an inkling of an idea what that might mean, seeing as how they are in a town where pigs are roaming freely. So I imagine it's a place where there are live chickens, and you go pick out a chicken and they cut it and kill it for you. But Cory couldn't guess that. He had no idea. Girl, you can smell a chicken coop from a mile away. I cannot even believe he did not know what he was walking into, okay? A giant chicken coop. It was a chicken coop. It was a store. Chicken coop store. The smell is awful. I can't even imagine, girl. I have smelled a chicken coop and it is like the worst feces smell you've ever smelt in your life. They pick out a chicken and he's like,
what are you gonna do with the chicken?
And it's like, Cory, what do you think is gonna happen? They get to the place where they put the chicken's head in a cone to cut the head off, and he's like squealing like a girl trying to tell this lady to not cut the chicken. The lady is confused and says to the cameras that men in Ecuador are much more macho than Cory. And I'm like, yeah, Cory is a little on the less macho side. Evelin is rightfully embarrassed, and she's just like, I need to talk to Cory because he can't be acting like that in public, especially because you know that chicken lady's gonna run back and tell Abuelita, and Abuelita's gonna tell Mama, and Mama's gonna tell Papa, and the whole family's gonna know that Cory was in the chicken coop store acting like a chicken. They get to the party and Cory decides that he's gonna do an icebreaker by doing a magic trick, and Abuelita does not like it. He does this trick where they pick a card, they write it down, they burn it, and then he picks up the ashes and rubs it on his skin, and it turns out to be the name of the card, and the family is like, it is a black magic, girl. He has separated himself from that family. Abuelita's not down with it. I don't know where they're gonna sleep tonight, girl. It is a scandal. It is the scandal of Ingobao. So Cory feels really, really bad, and so do I. And it seems like Evelin's embarrassed too, but I'm just like, Evelin, why didn't you tell him that wasn't gonna go over? Why didn't you ask him? I don't know, girl. I feel bad for him because it was an innocent trick, and for them to think it's black magic is like indicative of where they are. So he's gonna have to be very careful with how he does things from now on. You never know what might offend people or might freak them out, so just be careful, bro. So far, he's not making the best impression, even though he is eking out his Spanish, so he's gonna have to get better, but he's definitely trying, and I like that. The next couple that we're gonna talk about is Jenny and Sumit. Now this was a good episode. You guys, they're my favorite couple. Drama, no drama, they are my favorite couple because their shit is so real. So we start off with Jenny and Sumit. They are going to hang out with some of Sumit's friends, and they're talking about him telling his parents about Jenny. One of them says, you want me to go with you? You know, I guess to kind of explain the fact that this love is real. Jenny thinks that's a good idea, that him having somebody there to back him up will only be helpful. And Sumit's like, no, I don't want you to be there. Like, it's bad. His parents are not playing any games with him. They are pissed off at him, and at this point they don't really know what he's been doing. They don't trust him, they don't believe him, and he's just been lying, and it's been a couple weeks and he's had no job, and I don't know if he's been around to see them. Who knows, girl. They are just digging themselves further in a ditch, but this seems so hard on them. I don't know what's gonna happen to Sumit, but whatever the consequence of this is something that it's almost like he's coming out as gay. Like, that's what I feel like. It's something that like the family is so against that they're willing to disown him over, and he really just wants to marry this woman. But I mean, I can understand, he's a son. He's not gonna take the family name further, and love marriages are not, in his parents' world, part of the culture. It's more so you gotta get the arranged marriage so that we can make sure that the lineage continues, and it's gonna stop dead with Jenny because she can't have kids. So They're talking, and this table next to them starts talking shit. Sumit can't stand it. Sumit finally just stands up and is like, hey buddy, you know, I've been hearing you talk about things, you've been having a good time, that's fine, but you're saying things about her and I don't appreciate it. We're trying to show America that India is a good place and you're ruining that by your attitude. And I was like, that is a really good way of putting it. No American watching this is like, oh, those Indians are so rude. Like, no one's thinking that, but that's the way he's spinning it, and I'm just like, bravo. And his friends are trying to tell him to sit down and not fight, but he can't. He's gonna fight for his love, and I love it. Jenny says that she doesn't want Sumit to be fighting over her, but I know somewhere in her chesticles she was feeling it, you know? Because she's like, who cares what anyone thinks? Like, whatever. She has resigned herself to this, and she's just gonna love this man no matter what, and I'm there for her. But it's so funny because the guy who's antagonizing him is the one who didn't sign the waiver, but almost everybody else at the table signed the waiver. The next thing we have with them is they go to an immigration lawyer to talk about how they're gonna get married. I think it's an immigration lawyer, or it's some kind of lawyer to talk about how they're gonna get married. And so in India, it's quite a process to get married. You have to like file paperwork and submit it. And when that's done, those agencies send it to 3 different places, I guess, to make sure that there is no polygamy or something like that, because the lawyer says that the reason why they have to send it to the house you're living at and the registrar's office and your permanent home is to make sure that everybody in your family is aware that this is happening, so that it isn't like on the sly. And I imagine that that law is there to protect young girls who might be taken advantage of by older men. So it seems like difficult, but I guess if you're going along with the rules, then you wouldn't have any problems. And since these two are kind of like not going along with the rules, it seems like if the letter gets sent to the permanent household, which is his parents' household, they're going to be upset, but they have a right to contest it, which I thought was interesting. But again, if they were the parents of a young girl, they would have the right to contest a marriage. So it makes sense. I don't know if Sumit doesn't have like a sibling that he can tell to watch for the mail and just snatch it when it comes in the mail. I mean, I don't know. But anyways, Jenny and Sumit are very upset about this, and Jenny is crying, and he ends up holding her and says, you know what, no one's gonna stop our love. And she's just like, how can you maintain a 6-year relationship long distance? You can't. And so I'm here to do this. Like, this is what it is. And I'm just like, my heart goes out to her. I just am like rooting for them so hard. And I hope they figure this shit out. I hope they figure it out. I really do. So he holds her and he gives her affirmations, and like, I'm like, damn, this shit is real. Laura's over there crying about Aladdin. He's blocking her on social media. She's over there being jealous. Like, it's a whole rocky situation over there in Qatar. But in New Delhi, India, that's some real love. Speaking of that Qatari couple, let's move on to Laura and Aladdin. Okay, so we've got Laura on the airplane. She's worried that Aladdin might not be there to pick her up because she hadn't heard anything from him before she left the States. She's tired, it's been a long flight, and she says if he knows what's good for him, he better be there. And I was just like, girl, like, what are you gonna do? Like, really, what are you gonna do? Just give him a piece of your mind? Like, that man's not scared of you. He'll just block you. You'll get there, you act up, and he will be gone. You won't see him for a week. He'll be staying at a friend's house. You'll be in Qatar by yourself. So I don't know what power you think you have, miss, but you have none. So she gets there and he is there to welcome her. He's got a big smile on his face. Girl, he is so fine. I mean, it is like insane how handsome that man is. Just insane. He's there with a big smile. He hugs her. He gives her a kiss and mentions that she's gained weight. Yikes. You know, it's just like Angela and Michael all over again. I feel like Jenny is the only older woman who's like solid in her trust and belief that this person loves them. You know, it's just like Angela being crazy with Michael all over again. This is what this is, except for Laura is not as entertaining as Angela. It turns out that he shows up there with his friends too, so she's a little ambushed, you know, but she says it's okay and she shakes hands, they take pictures, and then he's ready to get home to do the jiggy jiggy. She's ready to get home to do the jiggy jiggy too. She hobbles on into that house because her feet are swollen and they hurt in them shoes. And they get into the house and she is not impressed with that apartment, child. She is like, this is my kitchen. And I was like, oh girl, you about to come over here and cook? Like, that sounds like a dream come true. But anyways, she's like, this is my kitchen, so where's my oven? And he like produces this like cylinder thing. I don't know what it was, but it is a newfangled invention that I've never seen or heard of. She's not impressed, and she's also said that his last apartment had roaches. Girl, Aladdin just got less cute. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, his sparkle dimmed in my eyes just a little bit. Like, I know people can't control the environment they're in, but like, Sumit just set the bar for me. Sumit set the bar. He didn't, the bathroom, like, I mean, it's alright, you know what I'm saying? But here's what it is. Laura's a grown-ass woman. She's grown. You know what I'm saying? She's not trying to like live that college lifestyle. We need to figure this out. I wonder how much money she brought, because she didn't talk about her money situation. So maybe she can elevate them and get them in a better situation and get her an oven. Oh, I'm sure she can make lots of things without an oven. I rarely put things in the oven. So I'm like, what is she trying to make? Casseroles? Laura's trying to make casseroles, you know, and Jenny is just happy to be with the love of her life. Usually this is Love After Lockup that likes to show that the fact that there's going to be sex scenes, but 90 Day Fiancé went there today. So they go into the bedroom. She starts to take off his shirt and then she gets up and closes the door. That means they're going to do it. Wink, wink. Apparently she's going to show him a thing or two. And sometimes it's hard to show guys things, especially when they go in with so much gusto that you're like, oh, okay. Oh. Okay, you know, like, how do you stop that? They seem so excited and just like going for it, and you're just like, I love your enthusiasm. However, my neck, my neck. Gotta get those moves together. That makes him look a little less attractive. So now, instead of him being the 10 I thought he was, he's an 8. The apartment, the jiggy, Aladdin's going down to an 8. So the next couple that we're gonna talk about is Ji-hoon and Deavan. Well, shut my mouth, okay? They actually like Drusilla. Now, I can't talk shit about Drusilla anymore because they like her. And if the family likes her, and if everybody's okay with her being buck wild, perhaps production is just showing us the worst parts of her. I mean, they didn't CGI her standing on the table, so we know she is wild. But for his parents to think that she's cute, especially kiss time, there is something that she is doing off camera that is endearing them to her, so shut my mouth. You know, I'm not gonna talk about that woman's baby anymore. Hopefully. So thank God Drusilla gets picked up by her grandparents and gets taken back to Utah. I mean, she's sick, which is the reason why they say they came to get her. And I'm just like, y'all have money like that? I mean, I don't know how much that plane ticket costs, but just to come and get a child? Okay. Emergencies are emergencies. I like that family. They come through. So Deavan is there with Ji-hoon, and they're on one of those buses that are like with the top out, and production is trying to make us believe that the family is having an okay time. But then we can see that they're having so much fun taking pictures, and Ji-hoon is excited because he's a tourist too, and he saw the like fountains of the Bellagio that he was like, oh my god, it's like water on TV. And Deavan doesn't seem to be having a good time. She seems like she's just so unbearably nervous and anxious that she can't even smile. She puts her head on his shoulder and says, I love you. And his dad comes over and like snaps a picture of them, and she's just looking forlorn. She's trying to talk to them and she asks them if they're having a good time, and Ji-hoon translates and says yes. And the dad is speaking the English that he knows how to speak, which is really great. Like, I thought that was really cool. She asks him about the food and about how they like America, and it was a good idea to go to Vegas. And I thought it was a good idea to go to Vegas too. The parents are very, very excited. You know what? I got an email from a woman who is living in Korea. Big shout out to Monica in Korea. Monica wrote me a very long email explaining Korean culture to me. She was saying that Ji-hoon's parents are probably very traditional and that they seem to live in the country, because the comment about hot water is not necessarily indicative of the part of Korea she lives in, and just how very, very, very traditional they are. And she talked about the breakfast scene and how, you know, Korean people need to have kimchi in every meal. It's just like what they're used to having. It's like cultural. And she just really broke it down for me. It's a long email, but I have a definite insight into this family structure. And I think that they are accepting Drusilla, and they're accepting the behavior the way that Monica said. Because Monica said that there are kids in Korea who act bad. So it's not like it's just Drusilla. There are Korean kids, because Korean parents have many different styles of parenting. And she says she knows this because she's a kindergarten teacher. And so she's seen the buck wild kids like Drusilla, and she's seen the very calm and docile kids. It makes it seem a little bit like Korea's kind of behind based on where the family lives. And I was saying that I think that what I know of Korean culture, that I could obviously tell that they didn't live in the city, and that, you know, things might be different, because I've seen like Korea on TV. I mean, really through the K-pop lens, but like if you listen to K-pop, you're like, oh, Korea is definitely way more advanced. And like, if you think about their infrastructure, it's definitely way more put together. So the fact that they don't have hot water might be something indicative of like the place they live. So thank you so much, Monica, for that. But back to the family. So Deavan comes in with dinner and they sit down to eat, and she's very nervous. And so finally she tells Ji-hoon to ask the parents if they give the blessing, and the parents say, yeah, like, we give the blessing. We want you to be a part of our family. And they hug her, and it's a great thing. And she said it was a big deal because Koreans don't hug. So they like stepped out of their box and did something to make her comfortable. And so it was all the way around a good impression. And she actually started laughing because of the way Ji-hoon's father says family. He says hamily. And so Ji-hoon thinks it's hilarious. And so Deavan starts to laugh, and the mom says, we're finally seeing her laughing. It's good to see her smile. And I was just like, oh, so they've noticed it too. So it ended up being good. And at this point, we're gonna wipe the slate clean. We are no longer gonna judge Deavan. She was looking haggard and like tired the whole time. We're just gonna chalk it up to pregnancy, and we're gonna move forward from here. Okay, let's give Deavan and Drusilla a second chance. I still need Ji-hoon to get some chapstick. The last couple that we're gonna talk about is Ron and Tiffany. All right, so this was interesting because it was very short. The small and the short of it is that Ron came home after his bachelor party, and told Tiffany about the drinking and told Tiffany about the dancer. She was so angry that she literally could not speak to him and told him, she pulled a Chantel and was like, let's talk about this tomorrow. And then the production crew tried to get her to talk about it on camera, and she's like, no, I'm not gonna do what I said I wasn't, so I'm not. And then the next morning she was able to get up to express herself after she thought about it, because she felt incredibly hurt, betrayed, and that he lied to her. And so that was the conversation. They went out to eat and finally showed a black person. You know, she was serving, but they finally showed one. They're eating food, and Tiffany just lays it all out there. She's like, you broke my trust. It's always gonna be in the back of my mind that you're lying to me, and then you did, and you can't do that anymore. And he's like, okay. And that was basically the end of that conversation. All right, you guys, so that's the end of this episode. Go on ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you liked what you heard. Let's have a kiki and a conversation down in the comments section. And remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.